Love like Jesus. Care for the weak. Our inspiration for today comes from the admonition of Paul to the Romans. In Romans 15:1, it says, "We who are strong ought to bear with the failings of the weak and not to please ourselves." Let's dive into the verse. We who are strong. This applies to people who are strong in faith rather than in their physical condition. Paul advises us to quit casting judgment on one another and to avoid creating stumbling blocks or obstacles for our fellow believers. Those who believe in God must be willing to set aside non-essential matters or internal conflicts to avoid leading our weaker brothers and sisters astray. Romans 14:13. We should learn to deny ourselves as Christ did. While we were still sinners, Jesus died for us. He came not to condemn us, but to seek and save us. He clothed himself in humility and became obedient to his Father's will, even to the point of death on the cross. His death brought us life. Ought to bear the failings of the weak. Bear implies sharing one another's burdens. It refers to encouraging the weak and embracing them with understanding, compassion, and care. It demands complete empathy. We don't become frustrated with them. Instead, we patiently instruct and edify them for their good. The weak need support from those with greater faith than in themselves, not criticism. By failings of the weak, Paul is referring to life's failures, temptations, and difficulties. And he is encouraging us as believers to rush to the aid of a brother or sister in need and to never stand back and criticize. One preacher puts it this way: believers are not to debate minor issues or be critical. It does not mean compromising the gospel or godly standards of living to gain acceptance, but giving up personal rights for the sake of our fellow believers, even unbelievers, if doing so might lead them to stronger faith in Christ. And not to please ourselves. This emphasizes the importance of pleasing our neighbors by not insisting on our way of doing things and being willing to compromise. To summarize, believers who are stronger in their faith should place less emphasis on satisfying themselves. Rather, they must prioritize their obligation to serve the weaker Christians while remaining faithful to the gospel of Christ.